All right, folks, we're here, Chris and Matt. This is Matt Bailey. Matt is an amazing marketer and sales leader. He's had his own agency and sold it very, very successfully. And now he roams around the world when he's allowed to get on airplanes and teaches people sales and marketing. But what intrigued me about Matt, actually, and we just want to have him on here, is the data that comes with marketing and sales. And a lot of it is kind of, I guess, because of our natural skill sets, we can fumble our way through the sales and marketing process because we're good at talking to people. We know how to read someone, and we stumble into sales. That might be how we started our agencies. But when you understand the real processes and the real data and what really works, this will change everything for you. So first of all, Matt, dude, thanks so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate your invitation, and I'm glad to be here.
Heck yeah, man. So tell us a little more about you, like where you're at right now. How's quarantine life? Are you just having a blast?
I'm in Northeast Ohio. I'm tired. I do a lot of training, and my calendar was full of in-person, on-site training events. And as soon as this hit, everyone called and said, you know what, we can't cancel. So we're going to change these to virtual training events. And it's great. I love it, but it takes a significant amount of work to change something that was an 8-hour on-site training to a 3 to 5 hour virtual training. Wow. The skills are different. The content has to be different. I mean, who wants to sit in front of a computer, in front of a webcam for 5 hours? I mean, you're asking an awful lot. So I've had to integrate a lot of instructional design work into translating these classes from an in-person to an online. It's been crazy. So I'm ready for a break.
Yeah, I would be too. Hey, by the way, what's up, Chris, Cian, Daniel? All great to see you guys. Yes, it's so true because we're all stuck behind Zoom every day. In fact, everybody watching, Matt and I were just mentioning it's nice to be on StreamYard for a second just to see something besides a Zoom screen. Not sure why it's that much different, but it feels different. For real, man. So so you haven't been on an airplane in months like the rest of us, right? Are you traveling yet?
No, nothing yet. Everything, I do a lot of work for, I would say, mid-sized enterprise level companies. Most of the companies I'm working with don't plan on going back to the office for the rest of the year. Those that are going to be going in thirds, I believe. And so right now, I'm looking at some international things later in the year, but even those are up in the air. We're not making a call on those till probably about 60 days out. Wow. I'm stuck doing virtual courses right now.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to take a minute. And proud of you. You're building a lot of content, though. I know you're a content guru, so that's strong for you. All right, let's do this. Let's talk data behind marketing and sales. So again, I don't know about everybody else, but I hear this a lot in our group, and I'm totally this way. I know how to talk. I love a camera and a microphone. So it's easy to get in there, make a relationship. And for a long time, when I was starting out, I stumbled my way into opportunities. And I thought I was good at sales and marketing. Just turned out I was good talking. Then when I learned the patterns and the data, all of a sudden I got to be a professional. So tell us about data and why it matters and the differences between actually knowing what you're doing and guessing it.
I'm going to take you back to the very beginning. So in the mid-90s, building websites was a hobby. I was selling real estate. Okay. So this was, I'm fresh out of college. I want to get a job in the agency world. And of course, I've got no experience. So I went into selling real estate, and very quickly I got tired with the typical home sales. So I started doing more commercial properties. Then I started getting into hospitality properties. Problem is, in the late 90s, your advertising is very limited. You've got magazines, newspapers. If you want to do something full color, you're looking at probably a $5,000 to $10,000 cost to get that published. So I started, I'm like, hey, let's build a website for this. There's probably 20 people online. And so I started building a website to sell these hospitality properties like bed and breakfasts, country inns, things like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm getting leads. Not only that, I'm having other realtors throughout the state and in other states saying, hey, we found your site in the search engine. Could you list our property? Now, I will say, from a business perspective, all of a sudden it hit me that I can make money taking listings and not just selling the properties. So immediately, this whole online thing is just really starting to explode. I'm making sales, probably a year or two go by. And one night I'm looking at the clock, and I was doing all the work on this in the evenings, after, the kids went to bed and my wife went to bed. I'd spend an hour or two working. And one day I was just burnt out. And I said, I've got to see, what should I do in this hour that's going to mean the most? Do I work on the website? Do I add more pictures? Do I contact leads? What is going to be the best use of my time? I started doing some investigation. I got a copy of Web Trends and put that on the site and let that chug away for a couple of days. Because that's back when we had log file analysis, if anyone remembers that. It took some trial and error, but eventually it got to the point where I could look. Now, at this point, I'm getting probably 95% of my leads from search because I have rankings, I'm all over the place. But when I start looking at my sales documentation and everything there, nothing matched. That 95% of all my leads were coming from search, but not one of my sales came from search. I started doing more digging, and 70% of all my sales came from a link that I bought on another website for $25 a year. The ROI on that was insane. So it taught me right away that big numbers lie. That even though I've got the rankings, I've got the visitor numbers, I've got the leads coming in from the site, it was all a distraction from where the real business was happening. And that changed how I approach digital marketing ever since.
That's so true. So true. And so now that like there's so much access to data, and anybody, even if you don't have this huge data degree or a ton of tools, can access stuff right here on Facebook or Google or anywhere for free, really. How do we use that? How do we take that and start influencing the marketing, the messaging, stuff we're going to do?
I'll tell you what, it is such a misconception. And anyone who's in sales and marketing, I'll tell you this, it is a misconception that you have to have a math degree, a data science degree, or any math background. Because if you did, I wouldn't be doing this. All right. I was terrible at math, unless there's dollar signs on it. All right. So what it takes is the ability to understand how the numbers translate to business objectives. If you have business acumen and you understand what the data is and you're able to translate that, that right there is the most important key when it comes to data and analytics. The second part, which, hey, as salespeople, we got this down, it's communicating it. That once you find it, now I'm going to tell people how to do it. But the biggest part is that business acumen, but also creativity and asking questions. That's the biggest thing, especially in Google Analytics. People open it up and they get this freeze that I don't know what to click on. I don't know where to go. The problem is, it's because we're going to Google Analytics without a question. If you have a question, such as how many visitors from Google converted and did what I wanted to do, how did they find me? What did they see? What did they do? And how much was that worth? So it's building a framework of asking the right questions, and then you'll get the data that helps you make better decisions.
That's a really good point, because so many times we look at the data and we try to create what we think a story is, but asking the right question first.
Yes.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so let's say that we're marketing and we're trying something new product or service, something like that. We're not quite sure if it's going to land yet. I know the credit card number, the swipe, is actually what proves if the product's viable, right? But how do we start that progression? How do we start collecting data if the sales aren't coming in to know, is it our product? Is it our message? There's so many things that come into that puzzle.
I always start with the keyword research. I go back to that because I want to know, how do people describe their problem? Now, they could describe it by looking specifically for that type of product. However, as salespeople, we know the real need is not typically how they search. The product is not typically how they search. They search based on a need. So we need to know what that need is and how people describe it. So I always go back to the keyword research to try and derive that intent and the flow of intent and what it looks like in a buying cycle. That helps me know then that I'm using the same language and that goes back to a sales principle of mirroring. That if I'm talking to someone face to face, I'm trying to pick up some of their language cues and use them as well, because that builds a rapport. Automatically, they're starting to feel more comfortable with me because I'm using the same language. It's the same way of utilizing keywords and making sure we're putting them in our content, in our page titles, in our headers, that we're describing the same problem with the same words as the searcher.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah. Okay. That's fantastic. So, by the way, if anybody has questions, as always, just dive in here, ask your questions. We'll jump on them ASAP and make sure we get them answered. You get a guy like Matt on the call for free, you may as well take advantage of it. He's not for free. So Matt, let's see, Junad, figure out that customer journey with the keyword research. Yeah, I mean, it's so true. So when you're doing that, are you able to actually pull that customer research and kind of figure out what a new product or service should be to kind of get even earlier in the stage in development by like looking at that research without them specifically saying, hey, I want to buy this product at this price? How do you start grabbing that?
It really goes back to that understanding the need, and then connecting that to an emotional need. Here's an example. My oldest daughter's 20 years old, and she just walked through the room. You can put signs up and tell people you're in meetings. It doesn't matter.
And what you're talking about is so not TikTok fun. Why are you even doing this, Dad? It's so freaking boring. Yeah.
Exactly. So my oldest daughter, I love her dearly. She's very much like me. I took her shoe shopping. Now, it's not like what you think, because she is not that much of a girly girl. She wanted Converse. That's my kid. So we go to the store. Now, one thing I didn't realize is there's 200 kinds of Converse. I'm like, where's the black?
Black, low top, high top. How many can there be, right?
So I'm okay. Go wander, do your thing. I'm checking my email. I'm doing some things. About 10 minutes later, I'm like, where is the kid? I don't see her anywhere. So I go looking, and there she is in a corner, and she's got 6 pairs lined up. She's got her phone out taking pictures of them and texting. I'm like, what are you doing? Everyone probably knows she's posting them and getting her friend's opinion on which pair of shoes she should buy. And I'm like, absolutely. I'm buying these for you. You're going to wear them. Your friends aren't. What's going, but, and so all of a sudden, all that sales training, starts coming back that, wait a minute, shoes are the functional need. The emotional need is social acceptance. So it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy, where, she's got the safety security. She's got the physical need. We're going to get a shoe. The next need up is that social acceptance and validation. And that's what she was looking for. It's the same way when we're looking at a product, is where does it stand in that hierarchy? And no product is sold at the level of need that it satisfies. For example,
say that again. Say it again. No product is
is marketed at the level of the need that it satisfies. Every product is marketed at a level above the need that it satisfies. Let me give you an example. Choosy Mothers Choose Jif. Okay? That is a love and acceptance and family appeal, not an appeal to nutrition or peanut butter itself. Every laundry detergent is you're a better parent because you're buying detergent that people like to smell. It's nothing about getting your clothes clean. It's all about happy family. So many products are marketed at an emotional level rather than that physical, functional level.
Mm-hmm. And that is so important to remember.
Yeah, it's, and I'll tell you where this really, I'm just going to tell you some more stories, Chris, if that's all right.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I love
I'll tell
this.
you where this was hammered home. I was selling software. I was in a major account, and my contact there told me, Matt, your company is logically the best choice I could make. Now, at that point, I was working for a startup. We're trying to unseat the legacy vendor. And, hey, that money is getting spent on that plane ride home. We are, as he said, the most logical choice. And that should have stopped me. But instead, I'm running with it. I'm getting ready to spend that money. A week goes by. I don't hear from him. A second week goes by. We got a problem. So I call him up. I'm like, look, where are we at? I was expecting to hear from you. And he says, look, Matt, I like you. Here's the deal. No one ever got fired staying with insert legacy vendor here.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, again, Maslow's hierarchy comes back. He told me we were the most logical choice. That means I was selling at the very top of the hierarchy, which was self-actualization, logic, self-improvement, challenge. That's the top of the pyramid. Thing is, you don't make a decision at the top of the pyramid unless your other levels are satisfied. He made his decision at the point of, if I take a chance on this startup and it goes south, it could mean my job, it could mean my security, it could mean my house, it could mean my living. So the level at which he made his decision for a vendor was near the bottom of the pyramid, and I'm selling up here. And so that just hammered at home now to remember, at what emotional level am I tying satisfaction with this product or the outcome of this product? And what are my competitors? What are they saying? And are they selling at a deeper level?
Yeah. Okay. So how would you have used that example? Then how would you have won that sale in theory? If you could go back and replay that.
Yeah.
How would you, I mean, he's got a big risk. Those are huge risks. How do you overcome that as a vendor?
Exactly. And that's what I needed to do, is more risk mitigation and more education that, look, number one, you're going to save money. And let's say something goes wrong with a legacy vendor. How soon will they have someone here to be on site and fixing the problem? As opposed to, we're a startup. You know who I am. You've never even met your salesperson from the legacy client. I'm here. I've been here twice. You've met my tech. You call me. We're there the next day. And so I would have done more to sell the security of the decision, as well as the financial benefits to going with us as a startup as opposed to legacy, because automatically you're going to save. I think it was probably a 70% savings going with us over legacy. We're open source, they're closed source, and getting more into, this is what it means financially. But he needed that security to know we're going to stand behind it. We're going to be there for you. I was staying more just on the financial aspect and not so much the security.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All really good tips, and glad you made that mistake so we can learn from it. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Part of what I should have done was also enabled him to communicate our story better as a startup. That, hey, you know what? We've been working with this legacy vendor. My narrative should have been, they're old and stale. We've got the latest technology, and you're going to look good because you're going to save money. You're looking forward. You're integrating the newest technology. I should have focused more on his personal reward and his perception in the company, because that gets to that job, that acceptance, that validation of his job.
Really, really good. So this is really great stuff. Anybody watching, again, if you have questions, better drop them, because we're not going to be here forever. We're wrapping it up in a few. If you have questions specifically about your market, the person you're trying to sell, the group you're trying to market to, Matt's the guy to be able to ask. And I'm so glad you're here again, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thanks everybody for watching too. Y'all are awesome as always. It's super fun to have you in this group. The thing is that Matt keeps coming back to, and it's so important to get this nailed down, and I forget this constantly, I wish I didn't, is really that emotional connection. What's behind the logic? We think, oh, I'm offering a slightly better price, or yeah, but we're adding a bonus, or yeah, but we're going to bring this new thing in, but we're going to support with 3 more extra calls a month than our competitor. That it's really about that emotional pull. What are they going to worry about when they're laying in bed at 2 a.m. after they make a decision with you? Are they scared or relieved? If they're scared, what's the scare? And if you can speak to that, you're way better off.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. You listed a bunch of features, and we're great at that. The problem is we've got a list of features, but here's what it means to you. And finish that thought. Like I said, salespeople were great at regurgitating features and benefits, but we're very poor at, let's now draw the line from, 3 more calls a month. What's that mean to you? How does that benefit you? When we draw that line, that's when it becomes memorable.
Wow. Really, really good. Okay. A question that's not sales and marketing for a second.
All right.
We're all crushing it. We're all super busy. We're all trying to just hustle up our markets, or it's coming like crazy and we're going like gangbusters. How are you dealing with burnout? How do you handle the stress? How do you make sure you stay balanced in a time like this?
First thing I do when I get up is I do about a half an hour of yoga. That has been the most, that's what I started doing in lockdown, and I love it. I've been doing it now for almost 3 months. So that's the first thing. And then I have some breakfast, I get a cup of coffee, and I read for about half an hour, 40 minutes. And not online reading. I grab a book, and I find a nice chair, something where I can see what's going on outside. But just enjoying that cup of coffee, taking some time before you even look at the screen. Now, granted, I did my email in between yoga and making breakfast. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. But that time in the morning of, it's still quiet, do some physical activity, and then just take that. We're isolating anyway, but, I've got 4 girls. So I get up early, and that time alone, when it's quiet, it's just invaluable. And it really helps set my mind at ease, and I'm ready to work, by about 8 o'clock. Let's hit the ground running.
That's a really good practice. Love morning routines. Yeah. It's really good practice. People keep mentioning that. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Any questions? Anybody want to fire one out? I have one more question for Matt, then we're wrapping it up. This is your last chance. If you're watching and you have questions and you're watching the replay, feel free to drop a message down here. We'll get it back and forth to Matt, and we'll get you some questions answered. So next to last question, Matt, I have a book question for you in a second. Sure. But what's the way we can reach out to you? Website, that kind of thing is. Can I drop your website here in the chat?
Yeah, website is sitelogic.com. That's SITELOGIC, sitelogic.com. Yep.
Perfect. I'll drop it right there in the chat.
Yeah, I'm probably most active on LinkedIn. I can't stand the noise of other social channels. So I'm going to stay with the sales marketing crowd on LinkedIn.
No, I'm with you. I hate Facebook. I'm saying it right here. Mark, if you're listening, Mr. Zuckerberg, you heard me say it. We all do. We all we don't spend any time on Facebook, but we all do too much. So as everybody knows in my group, get off Facebook. It's wasting your time. I mean, absolutely hang out in my group all day, but dude, get off Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me, reading, favorite thing right now that's really just impacting you, getting you the mindset stuff you need, helping you as a professional move forward. What are you reading?
Oh, man. I'm sure you can see the bookcases behind me. Yeah. I'm doing everything from culture, history to technology. I've read a couple of books I've read lately that I've really enjoyed. Everybody Lies. It's as salespeople, it's a great book. Everybody Lies. The only place they're honest is when they're typing into Google. Google knows more honesty than your spouse, than your friends, than your coworkers, because it's the only place we really type in exactly what we're interested to know or do. That's been fantastic. I'm going to turn around to see what else I'm looking.
So you're a paper guy, and do you do Audible, or are you all paper when you're reading?
I do Audible when I'm traveling,
Mhm.
and then I'm using my Kindle. Other than that,
Mhm.
I've got to have paper because I like to mark it up. I can, and the thing is, I could tell you if I'm looking for a quote or something that I read, I can tell you exactly which book it was and usually whereabouts in the book that quote was contained. And chances are I can pull it off the shelf, flip a couple pages, and it'll be highlighted. I just find it so much easier to recall that way
Mhm.
than electronic reading.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump in just real quick to, you said history, some culture stuff.
Yeah.
I learned so much more as a business person by reading like biographies from some amazing leader from East Asia from 1,000 years ago than I do from most of the current business books. Do you find that true too?
You know, you can find truth in a lot of places.
Hmm.
And that's really the key is understanding that. Um, so yeah, I love biographies. You know, I just finished one on Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Uh, Phenomenal. I'm highlighting stuff in that book, just things he would
Is that
say.
the three-part series, the Last Lion series?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's phenomenal. There's so much there. I learned so
it's
much in that too.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
incredible.
lot of reading. It's like this much. That's this many pages, dude. That's a lot of pages.
It is. It is. And that's something I make it my goal to finish about, at least one book a month. Smaller books, I'm trying to get through two a month. I've got, books on Google, Amazon, Spotify, and all that. Just, trying to keep up a little bit more with the technology and the business behind the technology.
Yeah,
So rather than just using it, understand, a lot of the business models behind things as well.
that's awesome. Well, Matt, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you,
Like,
Chris.
truly appreciate it. I know you're busy. I know you have a lot of other places you could hang out for 30 minutes, but dude, you're just a gem, and I really appreciate you advising us and influencing us and helping us see through it.
Not a problem at all. It's been fun, Chris. I really appreciate the invitation.
Sounds good. We'll talk soon.
All right. All right. Thanks again.
All right, let's see. Hang on.